To start a new app that people download and use, it's not easy to do. Everybody knows what's wrong. The more interesting question is, how do you fix it? How could this be different? And so out of that conversation came the original idea for Substack.
Yeah, you could have invented a Substack coin.
There was a moment in history where all the investors were really excited about crypto, and everyone said, if you just put crypto into Substack, you'll just go to the moon and all this stuff.
How many users does Substack have now?
Well, we announced recently that we crossed.
That's amazing. That's a lot of paid subscriptions. I can't believe you've been in Joe Rogan, dude.
Yeah, it was intense.
When was this?
A couple of years ago now.
But talking about Substack.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. How was it?
It was crazy. It goes long. He talks to you for like hours.
And you need to go there, right? To visit him.
Yeah, we went there.
Is he like very intense? Like, do you feel like, are you nervous when you're talking in the podcast, or?
You know what? He's very charismatic, and he's one of his talents, I think, because he like instantly puts you at ease. Like he's just very like, because it's stressful. Like I'm going on this thing, I'm like, this is probably the biggest stage I've ever been on, and he's just like, all right, like we're doing it. Like it, locks you in, like focuses on him. You get kind of like a good. He's good at what he does.
Yeah, I listen to all of his podcasts, and I like sometimes think, wow, like people going to the podcast for the first time, they must be like super nervous, no? Because you're talking in front of the biggest audience in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what if you like, freeze or get like a blank in your, so that would happen to me,
Yeah, right? But it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, we are in Substack offices in San Francisco with Chris Best, the CEO.
Hello.
And excited to be here. Guillermo, Flor, and me, Rubén, Domínguez, Ibar. We are both heavy users of Substack. We both grew a newsletter in the last year and a half that it's already reaching like thousands of people, and we are super happy users, no?
More than thousands, right? You guys have big audiences.
Yeah, in my case, I have two newsletters. One is called The VC Corner. It has already 69,000 subscribers. So it's growing more than 1,000 subs per week. And I recently opened another one with another guy that is called The Founders Corner, more focused on growing your company. And it has already 25,000, something like that.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, for me, my newsletter is called Product Market Fit, and I have, I think, 31K subscribers, and reaching kind of like from 300,000 to 500,000 reads a month.
Wow.
And it's pretty crazy. Like I think we're getting read more than a lot of media companies.
Yeah. On the VC Corner alone, I have 1 million views per month already.
Wow.
That is crazy.
And do you talk about how much money you make, or is that a secret?
No, we are making money from it.
Does it feel like a meaningful amount of money to you?
Yeah, it is. Probably it is also because we live in Spain, where salaries are not that high, and we are kind of young, like in the early 30s, late 20s. So any extra money is super helpful, and it's insane that we could even like make kind of a living of this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with sharing numbers, but I think like in our position it's better not to. But the reality is that I'm making at least like 5 times more than in my current job, and I do this only on weekends. I write on weekends.
That's awesome.
We have full-time jobs. We spend there almost all of our day, like in the offices. So a lot of days I go home and I take out my laptop and I start writing like at 8 p.m.
Wow.
And it's amazing how you can impact a lot of people, help them, and at the same time, if a small percentage of your audience wants to support you or they find value in what you put behind the paywall, they can also make you a huge financial impact. It's amazing. And super happy with it. We didn't start a Substack because of making money from it. It was because of being better venture capital investors, I would say. Because as an investor, it helps you a lot. Having a brand, an audience that can know how you think, what are you looking for in startups, if you help them.
Yeah, you have a platform. Where
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we see here Andreessen Horowitz doing a ton of content because it helps them. But at some point, in my case, I decided to open the paid version, also to force me to write like more original stuff, original content, and I also invited super interesting people, and I also thought about maybe being able to pay contractors to help me to do this more sustainable. It's now like that.
It's working well.
Yeah.
Very cool. I have a Substack too, cb.substack.com. It's not very big or well.
What do you write about?
I do a lot of stuff. Lately, I've been doing lives, and I've often, my favorite thing to do is if I read something interesting on Substack, I'll go see if that person wants to talk about it right then. I'm just like, hey, do you want to? I just read your thing. I like it. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah. And it's sort of like it's almost an excuse for me to get to have an interesting conversation with somebody, but also it's fun to use the product.
There is also a newsletter from Substack itself, right? With tips, with announcements of products.
There is, yeah. We actually have a couple. We have a big one that's sort of like for anybody who uses the app or is interested in Substack, and then we have like a blog that's kind of for publishers.
And Chris, I'm super interested in knowing why did you start Substack? Why did you build this?
Yeah, and what was your background? Was it related to what you are doing now?
Not totally. So, I mean, I went to school for engineering. And then while I was in college, I helped start a messaging company. It was called Kick Messenger. I had kind of a wild ride there. So we started in college when, I had no idea what I was doing. I was 21 or 22 or something. We had a crazy moment where that thing took off. We went 0 to 1 million users in 14 days or something. And then we had sort of like a crazy hypergrowth period. I mean, the thing got up to hundreds of millions of users. At one point, 40% of US teenagers were using the service.
No way.
No.
We started a little bit before WhatsApp, but then WhatsApp went on to like be the big winner in the space. Yes. But I had just kind of a wild ride and learned a lot. And I started out as a sort of a technical, technical co-founder, technical person building some of the software. I realized that the thing that really motivates me is the impact on people of the things we build. I'm interested in like, what does this mean to people? What are we giving them in their life? And like, how do you figure that out? So I kind of gravitated towards that side. I also developed like a respect for, you can't change human nature. People are people.
Yeah.
You're not going to change it. You shouldn't try to change it. Yeah. But even so, when you get to set up the rules of sort of the spaces that people inhabit online, you can have such a big impact, right? You can make a heaven or a hell with the exact same people, with the exact same flawed humans. Yeah. And so I just saw that. I saw like how much, the little rules you set up, the little things you put can sort of shape people's lives online. Anyway, I'd been doing that for 7 or 8 years or something.
Was it hard to start? Because it looks like it's really difficult to get like the minimum amount of newsletters and minimum amount of readers on Substack in order to make the platform meaningful for new writers or readers, right?
How was like the first version of Substack? How did it look like?
Yeah, okay, so I'll skip ahead. I finished that, took a year off, started writing. Instead of writing, I was writing an essay that was outlining my frustrations with the media economy and the internet. I sent it to my friend Hamish, who's a writer. He let me down gently. He's like, you're not a very good writer. This is boring. Everybody knows all this stuff. Mostly just you're complaining. Like you're just going on in this thing saying, here's what's wrong, here's what's wrong, here's what's wrong. Everybody knows what's wrong. The more interesting question is, how do you fix it? How could this be different? And so out of that conversation came the original idea for Substack, which is both a very grand idea, which is, what if we could make a new economic engine for culture? What if there could be a whole different business model for funding, great work? What if we could give a lot of ownership and freedom and money to the people who are making things that people value, et cetera, et cetera? And it was also like we also had a very humble version of the idea, which was the first instantiation of that could just be a very simple tool to make a paid email newsletter. Because that thing is like a practical thing that there was a few people that would want right away. But it was actually the germ of that larger thing that we were trying to create. And there were some examples of people who had done this. I don't know if you guys subscribe to Ben Thompson. who writes Stratechery, which is like a paid newsletter service. You know, we'd looked at the Daily Dish, which was like Andrew Sullivan's paid blog back in the day. And so we were like, we could probably just make an early version of this thing. And Hamish had a network. He knew this guy, Bill Bishop.
Yeah, Hamish is one of the co-founders.
Hamish is one of the co-founders. Hamish and Jay are my two co-founders. So we got started. I started building like the first version. We actually wrote a manifesto and published it, and that was the first thing. And then I started building the first version. Hamish started looking for who was going to be our early customers, and he found this guy Bill, who he'd known from back in the day, who already had a very successful email newsletter about China. I think he had turned it into a newsletter because he'd had a blog, but it got blocked by the Great Firewall. So he like used email to like get around it, basically. And he had this audience of people who were already subscribing, who loved what he was doing. It was super valuable. He'd been doing it for free for years. He'd been intending to turn on paid subscriptions, but he just, the technology was too fiddly. He never got around to it. Like, so he was kind of like, there was one perfect first customer. And so we went to him and said, hey, can we just build this for you? Like, we'll just take your thing, we'll make it work. You know, you don't have to do anything. You'll charge for it. And so I, started coding away, built the initial version of it. We applied to Y Combinator just before he launched. And so the application, so they asked, like, how much money are you making? I was like, $0. And then we got invited. We flew down to Mountain View to interview.
It was in person.
The interviews were in person.
They now do all the interviews remotely.
Yeah, online.
And they're like only 10-minute interviews.
There was still only 10 minutes, but they made you fly out for the 10 minutes. So you would go and they'd be like, all right, we better really get these 10 minutes right.
Yeah.
Well, it was worth in this case.
It was worth it in this case, and it was cool because it was only a few days after we'd applied. But they said, hey, it says here you make $0. And I was like, well, actually, since then we've launched our first customer. And Bill, like he made 6 figures on the first day. It was like this instant.
Wow.
And I was sitting there like, this seems good. Like, I think this might work. So we had this kind of like very early success, which was, to be honest, not at all due to the thing we built. It was completely due to the thing Bill had built. He built this audience that really valued it.
But you were helping him monetizing.
We were helping
audience.
We were helping him monetize it, and the fact that worked was to us evidence that this was going to work for more people. And so that's how we started. We started with just one person. And then the next couple people we brought on, at first you couldn't even start a Substack. Like literally if you wanted to make a new one, I had to go like type it into the database to like make the second one and the third one. It was very manual. So we started with some early customers who
but it's weird that you started monetizing, you started having a customer before having a whole product, no? Like.
Oh yeah. And in fact, the first version we didn't even have the idea of like sending email to the free list. Like there was a lot of things we hadn't figured out yet. But then, so we started with a few great people. While we were in YC, we opened it up so that anybody could get started. And we've been building it ever since.
That's amazing. How many users does Substack have now?
Well, we announced recently that we crossed 5 million paid subscriptions on the platform.
That's amazing. That's a lot of paid subscriptions.
Starting to turn into real.
Can you share more numbers about that, or it's kind of confidential? Like, I don't know. I would be interested in what percentage of subscribers end up being paid subscribers, like in Substack in general, or what's the average revenue per user per month? I don't know if there is anything you can share.
I don't think I have any. I don't think I have any other like specific numbers to share. But we did just cross 5 million. That's very exciting. We've been dancing up and down, but we've spent some time in the past few weeks as number one in the news category in the App Store, ahead of X and Reddit, which is always a big thrill for me every time I see it. I'm just
you did a note that is like a post on Substack, sharing that it got viral.
It went viral. Yeah, people. I guess other people get excited too. And there's a reason. The reason they get excited, of course, as you guys know, is the Substack app is now one of the biggest sources of growth for people on Substack.
When did you launch the app?
It was a few years ago now. I mean, I forget exactly the date, but we've had it for a few years. I would say we've spent a lot. This was a long-term investment. This is a thing that I knew we had to do, and it's very hard. I've done this. I have done this now, but it's to start a new app that people download and use.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do. It takes a while. It's
Why?
hard.
Why is so difficult?
Why is it difficult? Well, just the bar is so high. Like, how often do you get an app? How excited do you have to be for something before you're willing to go and download an app?
Yes.
And then out of all the apps that you download, how many do you use every day?
Yeah.
Very few.
Probably like 4.
WhatsApp,
Right?
WhatsApp,
Substack.
Substack, Stripe.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
There you
That's
go.
it.
Like you can count on one hand.
Yeah.
Chrome.
It's good that Substack's in that list. That's hard to
Yeah.
do. And that's where the value comes from, right? If you have an app on people's phones that nobody goes to, or the fact that people find enough value in it to like put it in their daily routine, and then that's when they, they're looking around and they discover you, or they all that stuff. So anyway, the app is a huge source of growth now, and so everybody, I think, gets to feel a sense of victory when the app is growing and working, because it's the result of everybody publishing on Substack, and it is like how we all grow.
I think what feels different from the app of Substack versus the other social media is that it feels like the content is real. So when we scroll down other social media, like even LinkedIn, X, and obviously Instagram, but talking more on the kind of like writing or B2B, it feels like most of it is not real, or it's, kind of like there's something weird, no? And in Substack, it's like real people talking, and the community it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, and you don't see ads. in Substack.
And you don't see ads.
The feed is completely free of ads. And in general, you don't see people like selling stuff. Like on LinkedIn, everyone is selling something. Like it's like a top of the funnel. No? In Substack, we see a lot of people in the notes feed or in the newsletter, like just sharing their thoughts, their ideas, because of doing that. Like maybe they don't even have a paid version, no? But they want to build that community.
Yeah, and I think one other thing when touching that point that is different is that there's a common interest of every person that is on Substack on growing Substack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
interests are aligned.
Yeah, and because like most of people are not writers. Like what we see as writers that we're not competing, we're collaborating, and so the more that we all grow, everyone grows. So it's kind of like, and it's like on LinkedIn, like or other platforms, like you're not part of the platform per se. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting. How do you think about integrating the social part into the emailing part?
I think it's really important because in the early days when we first built it, we didn't have any of the app, the destination, none of that. And the only way that you could grow your Substack was by doing the stuff you guys are doing, where you're like publishing it on other networks. And that's good. We always want people to be able to publish everywhere. It's not a walled garden. You should share it on Twitter, put it on LinkedIn, put it on the podcast app, put it on YouTube, put it everywhere. But what we realized was that created two really big problems for people. Number one, to the extent that what we're doing at Substack is creating a new incentive structure, the fact that you're trying to make something that's valuable enough that people want to pay for it, and the kind of thing you make is different. That's the reason it feels so different. The reason you don't get as much slop is it's like, people will read something, but they won't pay for it. So you have this better incentive structure. But if you then have to turn around and spend all of your time on Twitter or all of your time on LinkedIn, you're kind of still downstream from that structure. And then the other problem is one day LinkedIn wakes up and says, we don't like links anymore.
Yeah. Or we don't like your profile.
Or we don't like your profile.
It happened to me. They shut down my account because of security reasons. Because they thought that my account was compromised. And I spent 2 days without a LinkedIn account.
And that's really like, if that's the entire top of funnel for your business, what do you do? What if they don't bring it back? Yeah. What if, we have a lot of people who write about politics on Substack. There was a long period where Meta decided they just didn't want political content anymore.
Yeah.
Fair enough, it's their platform, but what do you do? And so we knew that if we wanted, that thing you're describing, where everybody on Substack's benefiting from this thing growing. If we wanted to have a real engine that was helping everybody grow and reach their full potential, we had to build a place where there's like the one place on the internet where the ownership is decentralized. It's your subscribers, they're paying for you, you have editorial freedom, but the growth is still centralized. There's still a place where there's still a place that people are coming that becomes this source where everybody can win together.
Yeah.
And that's actually the secret of Substack. It's not just the decentralized thing, and it's definitely not just, hey, we have this place that people go. It's when you put those things together, that's when the machine really works.
Chris, did you think about Web3 when building Substack or DeFi? Because like this, when Web3 kind of like popped up, that was the idea, no? Like, let's not have,
Yes.
you know, yeah. And then we all thought, or at least like us, kind of like are into a lot of technology. We all thought there would be like a new Facebook or a new LinkedIn that was kind of like that. And now I'm realizing that it's kind of like what you're describing, no?
Yeah. You could have invented a Substack coin for payments.
Yes, there was a moment in history where all the investors were really excited about crypto, and everyone said, if you just put crypto into Substack, you'll just go to the moon and all this stuff. And I'm a believer in that stuff. I think it's like one of the most interesting technologies we've come up with. Actually, the thing that after I left Kick, the thing the company went on to do was do like one of the early ICOs, raised hundreds of millions of dollars. My old co-founder ended up fighting with the SEC for years. And I think it's really cool. The thing that I've always had with Substack is I only want to add something if it's actually bringing a tangible benefit to people.
Yeah.
And I just haven't figured out if there's a way or how there should be a way to build in Web3 stuff. Like the fact is it works, right? You can pay. Yes, there's like a legacy, credit card payment infrastructure that's involved, but it all works.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a way where we could have it be as easy and as good in a way that sort of like really made sense to build it in. But I do think the spirit of it, it's the way I might put it is it's decentralized at the layer that you actually care about.
Yeah.
You own your connection with your audience. You have editorial freedom. You have your own space to moderate and control. That's the part that actually matters.
Yeah.
Does Substack moderate the content?
So we do have a acceptable terms of use policy. It's designed to be deliberately very narrowly construed. We take a strong stance in favor of freedom of speech, freedom of the press. We think in general on your Substack, you should decide what the rules are. And you can set for your community, you can set really strict rules. You can say, hey, anybody who doesn't leave a very thoughtful comment with good references will be banned. And that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't want, as the owner of the platform, to go to you and say, here's what you can write about, or here's what your community standards should be. We do have some rules. You can't spam, you can't do illegal things, but it's designed to be sort of narrowly construed.
That's amazing. What's next for Substack? What's the next big challenge? Buying Twitter?
I think somebody already owns that place. We had an interesting episode with them.
Buying TikTok?
I don't think it makes sense for us to buy TikTok. So this app thing, we've been working on it for years. It's really started to work within the last 6 to 12 months. This is the time where it's like that part of the business is like really taking off. And so you'll definitely see us continuing to invest in that. As you were saying, you get the feeling now where every time somebody new joins, like everybody benefits. So we're like, okay, how can we keep that going as much as possible? It's a real strong network effect that we honestly didn't have fully before. There was recommendations, there was stored credit card details, there was brand value. But those things, I would describe it as we used to have like a weak network effect, and now we have a strong network effect, and those things feel very different.
It takes time, but when you get it, it's so strong.
So we're building that. The other thing that the app allows is more media types, right? So when we started Substack, writing would work in email, podcasts would work in podcast apps. And that was basically it. like nobody watches video from their email, so you couldn't really like, we had video features, but it was kind of like, not really working. And now it works.
Yeah.
And we're building, we were talking before this about the live feature. The way I would put this is one of the things that's the most magic about Substack. There's all these things that are good. There's like, you editorial freedom, ownership, you make money, all those things are wonderful. But what really mattered early on was we would take all of those things and put them in a package that's easy to use. You can be one person in your evenings and weekends and start a thing and come type into this box. Yeah. And if the things you type are great, you get rich and famous.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to hire a team. You didn't have to learn how to sell ads. You didn't have to get a technology thing to set up your blah.
And you can be a solopreneur.
You can be a solopreneur.
That's amazing.
We've done that for writing. We're going to do that for video now. And the new AI tools that are coming online. So the Substack Live concept is you can have a conversation with somebody, feels like a FaceTime. You can talk into your phone. And we are going to magically turn it into a podcast for you. We're going to turn it into a series of clips for you. We're going to cross-promote it on both of the things. We're kind of going to add that same ease where you can just do the thing. And it's hard enough to write something good or to have a good enough conversation. But if you can do that, it's just going to work like magic.
That's so cool. We're going to start on video as well.
Yeah, well, we are doing video right now.
Yeah. And this will be on Substack, of course. But it's going to be really interesting to see that and to take, advantage in using those tools, because it's like video is really hard for most people.
But it's a great way of connecting more with your audience.
Absolutely.
It's quickly becoming sort of the lingua franca of the social internet, right? If you have a podcast and you want it to grow, like you have to have video, you have to have clips. This is how people are discovering it. This is how people are getting to know you. And even for writers, I mean, a lot of writers have, very interesting podcasts, very interesting video conversations.
Yeah, but anyway, it's curious for me to see that Substack is promoting videos that much, because on other social media platforms, I see that they promote videos maybe because it makes people spend more time in their app and then they can sell more ads. But in Substack, that's not the business model, right? So yeah, like what's the play? Why this bet on videos? Yeah,
well, I mean, we don't have to sell ads, but we want people to subscribe.
Yeah.
And, first of all, a lot of people are doing really smart long form video and audio content on Substack. So we need to make it work for that.
Yeah.
In order to discover that, you have to be able to have clips, you have to be able to discover. And we've seen people adding video. The thing about Substack, you're not paying for content. People aren't paying you to get more emails. Everybody gets enough emails.
Yeah.
They're paying because they trust you. They have a relationship with you. They want to hear your point of view. They want to be in the community.
Yeah.
And so Substack is not built around any one format. It's built around that relationship.
Yeah. And some people pay only because of supporting the creator. Because there is like a tier where people can decide how much money to pay you per year. And it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I propose a number there that it's a bit crazy, and sometimes people pay it and they don't come to me after that like, hey, I paid you this money.
It's crazy.
I want something from you, or at least I want you to thank me. No. People do it anonymously. Like,
I got a message from a guy, like he told me, hey, you're doing a great job. I like what you're doing. And he just paid, but I'm not going to use any of your resources, but I still think you did a good job. And he paid for one of these founding plans.
Yeah.
It's the amount of cool people that are out there and you can connect with is really amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah, Substack is also a way of letting your audience support you. Financially. Yeah.
And from the audience's perspective, it gives you agency, right? Something people feel on other platforms is, I don't have any say in this. The algorithm is just giving me whatever it thinks is going to get me to watch more. It turns into slop over time. You're getting these things that feel fake or feel, like you're rotting your brain. And Substack lets you take back your mind. This is a place where you are in charge of who you support. Yeah. It gives you agency in the world. Like when I decide to support somebody on Substack, it's like I'm getting a vote in the culture that I want to exist. That's a real, everybody who pays you, you don't just say, oh, thank you, that's great. You say this helps me do this. Yes. This makes me want to do it more.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so those people are they are getting a say in the thing that you're making existing in the world is very meaningful.
Yeah, it's like voting on good content. Like as a reader, you can vote, you can pay for the content you really like and support them.
Totally.
Yeah. One other feature, by the way, is the chat that you can have with your audience, which is really good. Like I've used it to ask for feedback about my YouTube videos.
Nice.
And they like, I'm like, okay guys, so this is my first YouTube video. It's really lame. Please give me honest feedback, but don't be too cruel. And people like take the time to tell me like, okay, your thumbnail should be better because of this and that and that. And I read like, I started, it's amazing because you have like a group chat that you can talk to and they support you as well. So it's a good feature as well.
And how do you see Substack in 10 years, for example? Or how would you like to see it?
I kind of imagine Substack as this like alternate version of the internet, where it's not that the kinds of things, it's not like the formats are different. We're going to have great writing. We're going to have great audio, great long form video, great community features, maybe great live events one day. But to me, the question is kind of like, how big can that side of the cultural economy get? Like, what's the share of kind of like the ad-supported engagement maximizing universe versus the people thoughtfully supporting things they deeply value? And I think the size of that economy could actually be quite big. I think we've been having this trend already for a while where there's kind of like infinite content available, more than you could ever hope to spend. Like your money is not really your scarce resource anymore. It's your attention, your time, your life. In the places you're spending your time, are you getting smarter? Are you becoming more the person you want to become? Or are you becoming sort of dumb and distracted and lost? And that's been already happening. It's part of why Substack works. And then now we have these AI tools that are just like, same thing, but times 100.
Absolutely.
If you think there was, lots of slop and spam before, there's going to be 100 times as much now. And so I think it's just getting even more valuable. Like the relationship that your subscribers have with you is only getting more valuable. And I think that the real magic of Substack is it's just a different way for you to make money doing the exact same thing you would do. It's the kind of thing you can do to succeed is different and better than if you were just only posting on LinkedIn, let's say, or only posting on Twitter, or only doing another thing. So, where does Substack go in 10 years? I hope that a substantial fraction of culture is built using this model, whether it's on Substack or not, but hopefully a lot of it is on Substack, is people choosing for themselves what they value, and people who are like free, independent creators making things they really believe in and making a ton of money.
Do you already see big companies using Substack as a marketing tool?
There are a fair number of big companies that have started Substacks. We actually don't. If you want to use it purely as like email marketing, we don't allow that. We consider that spam by Substack. If the only thing you do on Substack is say like, hey, buy my supplements or whatever, like that's not allowed. But if you're doing something editorial where it's something people would want for its own sake, there are a bunch of companies exploring it.
Yeah, by the way, we work in venture capital in Spain, and I can think of maybe 5 funds that it's a lot in Spain that are using Substack for their venture capital fund newsletter, and they do deep dives on topics they like.
Very cool. What's the venture market like in Spain? I know nothing about it.
So, do you know more about it?
Well, I would say it's still not super mature, but there are quite a lot of early stage funds. The thing is that it's harder to raise money when you grow a little bit. So most like successful startups raise from the US, and so they end up either moving to the US or raising from North European funds like from the UK or Germany. But still, it's growing really fast. We have like a couple of big tech companies, like not big, but at least like unicorns that are kind of like creating a lot of startup culture. And we have like some hubs like Madrid and Barcelona are the main ones. And we have great technical talent from like the universities.
And it's cheaper.
And it's cheaper, but what we need to change is like the entrepreneurial kind of like ecosystem or culture. Because like most students don't like finish university knowing what a startup is, or what that you are able to build a company, that you are able to change the world, and
Yeah.
That's, I think, part of the job that we still have to do.
for example, I studied engineering in a good school, and no one of my colleagues, we were 120, no one started a company after university.
Wow.
When you come to San Francisco and speak with students or I don't know, the entrepreneurs that come out of universities and go into accelerator programs, it's
100% of people at Stanford have heard of startups.
Yeah.
In Spain, a big percentage of people want to work for the government.
Yeah.
And that can change. I think it's changing little by little. And as Guillermo was saying, it's really good to have some successful stories of startups that exit and the founders start investing in startups. Some of the early employees of the companies start their own companies. It's like this flywheel effect. And there are, for like right now, a lot of funds that started in the last 10 years. Most of them invest in early stage. So it's quite competitive when you see a good founder building something. But when those founders raise 10 million or 20 million, they can ask probably only 5 funds for that money.
Yeah.
So they usually go out of Spain.
Yeah, and we're starting to see American investors like taking over even like the pre-seed rounds in Spain now. So it's getting more competitive for us, and I mean we need to step up.
We are constantly looking for talent, for good ideas, and suddenly when we find one, maybe existing set or Lakestar or whatever big fund comes and says, I want to take the full round. And like for a Spanish founder, is like really good marketing, and they usually pay more money and better valuations.
Yeah, so it only makes sense, you know, like a Spanish founder that can choose between Andreessen Horowitz and a Spanish fund, like
also American funds are bigger, so they can support more founders.
Yeah.
And maybe like ending this interview, I would love to ask you like what advice, what tips you can give to people that want to start their newsletter on Substack.
I do. This is my favorite tip because people often ask me like, you know, if I want to start a Substack, what should I do? I'm like, step 1, start.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the most important advice. A lot of people who are thinking about it, they want to have a plan, they want to develop a lot of things, they want to do all that. My best advice is just go. Just do it. Your first few are going to be, you know, bad anyway, probably. Like just get it out of the way, start going. It's never been easier to start. You can get the Substack app and just go right from there. You don't have to do anything. It's free. For any audience size, you get full ownership of the email list. You can write, you can make video, like just start. That's my strongest recommendation. Don't overthink it. Just make something good, talk to people on there, and follow your nose.
Totally agree.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We talk about this all the time. Like the first thing, like whenever you start something, you're always going to be bad at it. So it's just about starting and doing it as much as possible, as long as possible to get better at it. That's it. It's nothing more. Nothing else.
Iterate, figure out what works for you. But I think you should be consistent, even if it's one article per month. But commit to something that you can sustain long term.
Yeah. And honestly, the more the better. I mean, it's better to do more, you know, more often, even if it's mostly fast or mostly small things. Like more regular. The more seriously you want to take it, the more you can do, the better.
It helps you iterate and see what your audience likes.
And I don't know if you guys have this. One of the most consistent things I hear from people who get really big on Substack is, I can never tell which thing is going to work.
Yes.
There's something where I spend 30 hours making the longest thing, and it's kind of goes out and goes nowhere. And then the other time I spend 20 minutes dashing something off in the airport, and I send it off and don't think about it, and it becomes the most read thing I've ever done. You just gotta show up.
It happens to me all the time. Like whenever I write some stuff that I think this might be a little bit dumb, and then I get a lot of people telling me I love that newsletter, and it's like the one that I did like faster and whatever, and then I put a lot of time to something, and then it's like nobody cares.
Effort and time dedicated to building something is not always related to the value you add.
To deliver. Yeah, absolutely.
And then so if you're somebody who's a perfectionist and you only do the ones that took a long time, you might be missing on the things that really work.
Absolutely.
Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, guys. This is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris, for everything.